One of the great things about sport, there's a lot of great things about sports. I don't think there's any one thing that's greater than another. But one of the things that I do find maybe more fun is that every sport regenerates. Every sport, as someone rolls through with a great career, someone else starts one. As one is ending, another is starting. We talk about A-Rod today. He's 38 now. He may never play again. I mean, he's going to play the rest of this season or however long it takes for an arbitrator to make this decision. But after that, there's no guarantees. No one knows exactly whether he'll be suspended for a year and whether he'll be able to come back from it. And when he does, what kind of a ball player will he be? A shell of his former self? But be that as it may, throw that aside for a moment and think of the new ones coming along. And I think we've been really blessed the last couple of years. Last year, for instance, do the names Trout and Harper mean anything to you? Those two guys, one in the American League, one in the National League, were incredible to watch. I think in both cases, the starts of what should be great careers. Don't know if they'll make the Hall of Fame. It's way too young to say. But certainly they've started out, both of them, as if that's a possible destination. And both of them actually started off so well that they were in MVP consideration. That's rare for rookies. The last time I can remember seeing years like that was Fred Lynn and Jim Rice, both coming up together with the Boston Red Sox in, I believe it was 1975, going back a long, long time. Both of those guys had great careers. Neither one of them's in the Hall. So you have those two last year. Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. Great players. What does baseball do this year for an encore? Maybe two better players. Now, I'm not saying they're better, but I can certainly make an argument for it. Let's start with Yasiel Puig. Called up by the Dodgers on June 2nd. At the time, the Dodgers were 24-32. They've gone 38-17 since. They're now 6 games ahead of Arizona. He's played 54 games, 11 home runs, 25 RBIs, a .373 batting average, an OPS of over 1.029 before last night's game. And he's slugging .600 again before last night's game. Now, to be fair, he's been a big catalyst for the Dodgers' resurgence this year. They have been absolutely outstanding. But Hanley Ramirez came back around the same time and, believe it or not, has even better numbers. So Ramirez is a big part of this too. But you cannot take away what Puig has been able to do with the bat and in the field. He's been an incredible fielder. He's a guy who runs into walls. He's got a great arm. He's the entire package. And he's only going to get better. I think that's the other thing we can safely say about the guy. He is an amazing player. And I have to believe it's the start of something really, really big for the Dodgers. But I'm not sure he's the best rookie in Major League Baseball right now. Now, as I said, his numbers look outstanding. .373 as it stands today. 11 home runs, 25 RBIs in 54 games. You extrapolate that over an entire season, it'd be 33 home runs, roughly, and about 75 RBI. That's pretty good. Now, the numbers are starting to come back to the pack a little bit because, one of the things that does happen, especially with a guy like Puig, with his talent, is the first time pitchers see him, they don't know how to pitch him. They will eventually find a place where he's a little bit more vulnerable, and that's already starting to happen. He's kind of coming back to the pack. On the other hand, the guy has such incredible speed that anything he hits to the left side of the infield, it's a close play at first base. So you don't know what might happen. Suffice to say, though, we are witnessing the start of what looks to be a pretty promising career for the kid. Yasiel Puig with the LA Dodgers. The other guy, though, who may be better over the long term is a guy who should be playing for the Kansas City Royals this year. But the Royals being the Royals, they again decided, well, we've had so many great guys come up in the last little while. We got no place for a Will Myers in our lineup. Let's trade him, along with a couple of other prospects, for James Shields. Now, Shields has been good, and to be fair to the Royals, they're having a pretty good season for them. They're still in third place in the AL Central. They are 4 games over 500 as we speak, which is very un-Royal-like. But it's not like, say, Pittsburgh Pirates, who are leading the NL Central and are pretty much a lock for the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. Maybe it's a good sign that they've got Shields. Maybe it's a good sign that they are turning things around. But boy, do you think they'd look a whole lot better with Will Myers in their lineup? Now remember, Puig was called up June 2nd. Will Myers waited 2 extra weeks. He came up June 16th. The reason he came up, by the way, at that point was having to do with contracts, keeping him around, and frankly, how much money and so on. But they get to keep him an extra year because of his service, Major League service. It's probably not right, but it's the reason they did it, and it's how Tampa is the way they are. Okay, so when he came up, the Rays were in 4th place in the American League East with a record of 36-33. As we speak, they are 66-45, 1 game out of first place. The Boston Red Sox are ahead of them. So their record has been basically 30-12 since Will Myers came up. To be fair, part of that has been their pitching staff. It's been nothing short of brilliant. Their ERA is well under 3 for the month of July. That's unheard of. But Myers, don't kid yourself, has been a big part of this too. 39 games, 8 home runs, 30 RBIs, a .329 batting average, an OPS of .912, and he's slugging .533. And again, to extrapolate, he would have about 32 home runs and roughly 120 RBIs if he played an entire season at this rate. Now, again, you got to keep in mind he is a rookie, and first time through and all that kind of stuff, they may start getting him. But he was the number 1 prospect in baseball last year. He will be in Tampa for a long, long time. And don't kid yourself, he will be a great, great player. It's almost incredible that they could pull this off. But again, I said last hour how Alex Anthopoulos, this was the team he was supposed to be modeling the Blue Jays franchise on. And quite frankly, they blew it. That won't be what the Blue Jays are anymore. And the Rays will be there year in, year out with guys like this, and every year bringing up a new pitching sensation, which again they've done this year. It's incredible how they've been managing to do this. Jonah Carey wrote a book about it actually, and it's really interesting. They're a low budget team with high budget expectations and results. You want to learn how to run a baseball franchise? Take a page out of their book. And that's one of the big reasons for the disappointment that is the Toronto Blue Jays this year, because they're not going to be this anymore, folks. And it's too bad. It really is too bad.